Good morning, beautiful soul. My name is Samantha and welcome to Sacred Solaris. I'm in the sunshine and I felt spirit calling me to film in the morning while the sun is beaming through my window. So I'm a little bit like squinty with the sunlight, but I just feel really called. I don't know why. It's something about the light codes, I think. I just wanted to film yesterday and there was a hard no answer from spirit. So here we are, and in today's video I'm going to be talking to you about, we'll start the conversation because I have so much to say on this and I'm not going to get it all in one video, and I have a very specific message I want to share today, and that is how we can grow our connection with nature spirits like the Fae. There are so many different types of nature spirits, but I want to share with you a story that happened to me on the weekend, and it's just starting the conversation of so many conversations I want to have about nature spirits because I work with them so closely and I'm deepening my connection with them on a more conscious level. It's always been an unconscious thing. So as I go through this journey, I would also love to share little moments and wisdoms that come through, especially because I feel in this time, especially if you walk the path of a witch or a healer or somebody who is so connected to nature, the nature spirits are already trying to come forward to you. So let's get into it. I want to share with you this story. So I live in a rural town in Queensland, Australia, and it's got a lot of farming. It's very close to the beach, so I'm very grateful for that, but it's very flat. It doesn't rain here very much, so it's very dry. It's like scrub, it's so dry. My soul, my heart, my spirit, and my ancestors call me to mossy, green, lush, mountainous, waterfalls, creeks, streams. That's where my soul wants to be. So at any chance that I get to holiday or to go somewhere, I choose to go to those locations. It's why I got married in New Zealand, literally on a mountain. But we headed to the mountains. My husband and I went on a trip, and I was very lucky because I have a dear sister and friend that lives down in the mountains, and I had a tattoo, which I will show you at the very end of this video. I'll show you my tattoo. My husband's name is Callum, and he has an amazing setup on his car with a rooftop tent and solar and all that sort of stuff. So we ended up camping, and just by the sheer luck of it, we ended up right next to a creek. So we were opening up everything, and Callum's very OCD, so he was happy, like taking charge on all of that. And I kept on hearing spirit, like the call, like come to the creek, come to the creek. And there was actually no path. I had to literally slide down a hill, but I got down there and I could just feel and see myself instantly doing ritual at the creek. And I had bought some of my wool to create a talisman. It's not this talisman that I created, but a similar talisman. So all night we were listening to the running creek water, and I woke up to that. And because of the water, it was so cold. It was the coldest place in the entire campground, but it was worth it to hear that trickling and like beautiful energy of the water. And the next morning I got up nice and early. I gathered my materials and the things I needed to perform my ritual and to create my talisman medicine bundle, like the core of what's inside this. So I land down the bottom of the creek, and this is where I want to give you the first and the main point and message of this video that has come forward from my experience, but also from spirit wanting and guiding me to then guide you. And that is the level of presence that it requires to connect with nature spirits on a really visceral level. So for majority of my life as an adult, like a young adult, I'm in my mid to late 20s now. And for majority of my early 20s, I've always had my phone. When I go out into nature, oh, look at the pretty flower, takes a video. Oh, look at this, takes a video. And that automatically removes us from the present moment because we're like looking through the screen. We're not experiencing it fully, wholly presently in this now moment. Also, our phones have only been around for X amount of years. Well, think about when you first had a mobile phone. So electricity and, you know, the Wi-Fi service coming into your phone, it's emitting like an electromagnetic field. It's not like that's been around for a very long time. And so having our phones and on us, with us physically, is not, in my experience, going to bring them forward for you. It's not going to encourage them to want to connect in with you, because we are having this like device that's like emitting all this energy. This like, it's almost like static. That's what Spirit just showed me. It's like we're walking around with this like static energy, and we're then trying to, through our psychic senses, because that's often how spirits will connect with you, is like we're trying to open ourselves, we're trying to call them in, and we've got this like static device that's just like creating all of these boundaries with them. So I invite you to think about the times that you go out into nature, and it's not that you have to leave your phone at home, because obviously it can be unsafe to not have your phone. But I would say when you're meditating, or when you're trying to connect with a spirit or with the Fae or with whoever, when I say nature spirits, you know, I'm talking about like encompassing spirits of the land, of wherever you're from. There are so many, not just the Fae. And when I talk about the Fae, I don't think about like little, I have actually a perfect image. I'm not talking about little fairy, you know, winged little creatures. Like I'm talking about, they can be dark and gnarly, and like, you know, like there are nature spirits of like all walks, I guess. And so when you're trying to connect with them, I just invite you to maybe place your phone 5 or 10 meters away from you, so you can really come into yourself, come into your body, into this moment, and you don't have this like static blocker pushing. It's like emitting a different frequency in your aura, and so you can then align with their energy more and start to channel messages or whatever it is your intention is to connect with them. And at the very least, don't have your camera out, or don't have it on you physically. And try, even if you can feel the presence, but you want to record something, just maybe holding it, but not looking through the lens, and being very focused and present in your mind, and not looking through a screen, because you're not observing the magic, you're observing it through the screen. And you're removing yourself and your spirit from this exchange. Thank you. Like Spirit literally just said, this is an exchange. Like they're coming in and like, so yeah, like this is an exchange of energy, and it's disrespectful to the spirit or the nature energy that you're trying to connect with, to be viewing it and to be trying to connect through a device and through a screen. And so removing that and having that that like honoring the relationship and the connection between another creature, another energy coming to you. But it really is, it's always about respect and honor. Whenever, you know, if you look back into history and folklore, into like my ancestry is like Celtic ancestry. And so when you look into the folklore and the practices used by my ancestors in connection with the nature spirits, it was always in reverence and with deep respect to them, because it was something that is very serious, and you shouldn't muck around with being disrespectful. And that's why whenever I do something and I go out into nature, I always will leave like an offering. I took plants from my home garden and I sent them as an offering. We had strawberries actually, and I actually left some strawberries that I didn't eat as offerings to the land, because I was so grateful for the experiences that came forward from this trip. So just to summarize my point is, please be mindful of your phone, of being present in this now moment, and leave your phone away from you if you can, if it's safe to do so, even if it's just a couple of meters. And I now want to share with you the story of what happened to me. So I've like slid down this bank, and I left my phone on the little creek bed because I was sitting and meditating on a stone in the middle of the creek. Like just, there was like water flowing on either side of me. And I had all of my, ingredients, I guess, to do my ritual. And I was sitting there, and I heard spirits say, there's platypus in this creek. And I was like, there's no dang platypus. Like, platypus live in New South Wales and Tasmania and Victoria. Like, they don't live in Queensland. And I went to grab my phone because it was like, oh, so I went to get up and I was like, I'll Google it. I'll Google if they're here. And then I was like, no, Sam, like, again, come back to presence, leave your phone. You don't need it. It was just a random thought. That's what I thought. Because I still sometimes shoo spirit away. I'm so silly. So anyway, I just sat there with it, meditating, connecting in with my breath, connecting, expanding my aura, breathing in the energy of the creek. And I heard this noise and I opened my eyes, and probably 10 feet in front of me, there was a platypus floating on the top of the water. And if you're not from Australia, platypus are so elusive. They are so secretive and they don't like people. They don't like loud noises. It's very hard to spot them. And if you do spot them, you should be so grateful and feel very blessed, which I do. So this little platypus is floating and I'm just in shock, like, and then so thankful that spirit actually told me, because it made me sort of open my eyes when I heard something. And he did a little like swan dive, and I have images here of my parents. They went down to Tasmania and had a platypus, so I can show you all how cute they are. But he did a little dive, and then I was just watching him for about 5 minutes, and he was chasing fish and scurrying around. And I was like nearly in tears. I felt so honored and blessed to see this little elusive, secretive creature and to have come across a place where it lived. And after this happened, I knew that spirit was trying to say, we're here, you need to try and connect. And so I opened myself up, I opened my channels, I called in my guides, and I sort of expanded my aura enough and said, the nature spirits that dwell on this land, I would love to connect with you if you feel that connection with me. And I'm open to seeing you with my physical eyes. I'm open to seeing you. And at this point, I was sitting in the one spot in the creek where there was a little bit of filtered light coming through. And as I said these words in my mind, and I just sat with it, and I was just breathing, calling it, I said, I'm open to receiving, I'm open to receiving. So this is very early in the morning, and there wasn't a lot of sunlight coming through, just a little bit. And I was sitting on this one rock in the middle of the creek that had a little bit of filtered light. So as I've connected, called out, I will receive your messages. I will, if you want to show yourself to me physically with my sight, I'm open to seeing you. And as I said those words in my mind, so this is all happening in my mind, and I'm sending that out through my through your clair senses, which we all can all do. As I'm doing that, the tree above me, that's off in the distance, literally they must have just parted a bit, because the sunlight went from filtered, hardly there, to this huge beam of sunlight just blaring in on me on the one rock in the entirety of the creek. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And this rush and download of energy started coming, and I'm looking at the sun, and the whole way around the sun was a rainbow. It was literally a beam of light, of pure white light, with just all the colors of the rainbows streaming out like starburst. And I was just staring at it. I've never seen the sun like this, and such a sacred moment that I really wanted to share with you, because you're not always going to see a physical little 3D creature, but I asked them to show themselves in how they would like to be seen. And it was just pure light, rainbow, I'm just looking at this little dancer, because it creates all the light on it. Just, they wanted to come forward as light. And I'm just feeling, I was so overwhelmed. I was tearing up. And if you've never channeled energy before, I want to explain it to you. It feels like in that moment, there's a link. So there's a spirit here and I'm here. There's a link. And throughout your whole body, it's like a rush of energy just coming through. And so you can feel when you're plugged in, linked in with something. And so I'm feeling very overwhelmed, looking at this rainbow sunlight as the trees have come open like this, and it's come through. And then I'm thank you so much. I'm bless you, sending blessings. I'm just relaying all of this information while this link is really strong. And then I could feel them go, okay, it's time now. And I said, thank you so much. And I could feel the energy. So you feel it like it's really strong. And then you kind of feel like it's like sand slipping through the hourglass. You can feel that connection starting to slow down. And I just said, thank you so much. And as it came to a close and I came back into myself and they disconnected from me, the trees go back, literally. And then the sunlight fades out and it's all gone. The reason why I wanted to share this video hugely is that you can connect with these spirits, and throughout the videos, you'll see them titled like connecting with nature spirits, I guess, like maybe part 1, part 2, I'm not too sure, but each one, I hope to just give you some things to reflect on, like today's, making sure you're very present in this now moment, that you don't have distractions and you don't have the energy of technology around you, so that your soul and energy and aura can connect in with these little creatures and spirits, and not little, huge, these grand spirits that want to come in and share messages with you through your psychic senses, etc. So I feel very blessed and honored to be able to share this story with you. I'm very El Natural again. Spirit has been very much pushing me, my guides, pushing me to just show up authentically. It's a very big thing, I guess, because I'm normally makeup to the nines, but I think that, yeah, it's just very important at the moment to be very authentic and just speak my truth and be myself. So I hope that whatever messages you were meant to receive in this video have come forward for you. So thank you for being here. Subscribe to the channel if you feel called. I make weekly videos and I'm trying to grow my community here. Like I said, check out my website. It's launching very soon, and I'm going to have all of my spirit dolls and my talismans that I make, my woolen talismans. Here's one of my beautiful little dolls. And yeah, I will see you in the next video next week, but you can head over to Instagram, Sacred Solaris. I'll see you then. Have a great day.